Astrology is a pseudoscience with no scientific basis that proposes that the positions of celestial bodies and astronomical events influence human character and destiny. It comes from the Greek words astro, meaning star, and logos, meaning knowledge. Astrology claims to be able to tell you what influences you might encounter in the future. In the past, astrologers would chart the sky's position on a celestial diary or a star map calendar, showing the state of the sky by days, months, and years. Making predictions by observing events in the sky, especially forecasting disasters, has been observed in many societies throughout history. The earliest written example of this comes from Mesopotamian civilizations, Assyria and Babylon. For most of history, astrology was accepted as a scientific tradition in political and academic contexts and was associated with other studies like astronomy, alchemy, meteorology, and medicine. At the end of the 17th century, new scientific concepts in astronomy and physics, such as heliocentrism and Newtonian mechanics, cast doubt on astrology. Thus, astrology lost its academic and theoretical standing, and widespread belief in it decreased significantly. Today, astrology has no scientific foundation. The origin of the astrological system present in the West today comes from ancient Greece. Until the time of Alexander the Great, the ancient Greek studies of the sky did not encompass explanations and prophecies of events on Earth. Forecasts about the future consisted of ideas about celestial bodies influencing the weather. After this period, under the influence of Mesopotamian civilizations, astrology began to appear in ancient Greece alongside astronomy. Long ago, people looked at the starry sky at night and wondered what these stars were and how they affected their lives. Thus, from these questions, astrology emerged. Nobody knows exactly how old the pre-written tradition of astrology is. In written history, astrology first appeared in Mesopotamia around 2500 BCE. Here, it was believed that planets were powerful gods that influenced human destiny. These astrologers began to carefully observe the sky and regularly record what they saw in its bright paths at night. Astrologer advisors gave counsel to royal families on state governance, and in early Mesopotamian history, astrology was considered a royal art. The ancient Greeks combined Mesopotamian astrological divination with their own mythology and the new science of geometry to create personal astrology based on zodiac signs. The circle, called the zodiakos kyklos in Greek, or circle of animals, extends 9 degrees on either side of the elliptical orbit that the sun follows through the sky over a year. The zodiac is divided into 12 parts, such as Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Each is symbolized by an animal and defines the year. Thus, the Greeks used astrology to create horoscopes to advise individuals interested in how events in the sky affected their lives. The Mesopotamians divided the sun's course in the sky into 12 segments along a 360-degree circle in the direction of 12 constellations. The ancient Greeks also adopted this system and named the signs where they placed animals from their mythology zodion, or animal, and the circle they placed them in zodiakos kyklos, or circle of little animals. Today we call it the zodiac circle. The English words zoo and zoological also derive from this Greek word. The origin of zodiac signs in Greek mythology. Aries. The name of the golden-fleeced ram refers to the ram whose risky, perilous journey the Argonaut sailors undertook. The cloud personifying celestial being Nephele sent a golden-fleeced winged ram to save her children, Phrixus and Helle, from the wrath of their stepmother, Ino. As the children traveled east, Helle fell into the sea during the flight. The waters she fell into were named Hellespont, Sea of Helle, in her memory. This is the ancient name for the Dardanelles Strait. In modern times, the strait was renamed Dardanelles after the former Trojan king Dardanus. The ram's journey ended in Colchis, and after Phrixus sacrificed the ram to Zeus, he gave its fleece to King Aeetes, who had hosted him. It is also said that the name Eris, i.e. the ram's name, comes from Ares because the king hung it on a sacred tree in a garden he had dedicated to the war god Ares. In ancient Rome, battering rams used to break down fortress gates during wars, with ram's head shapes on their ends, were called Ares. Taurus. This is the bull whose reflection is in the zodiac belt, the bull of Zeus, who carried Princess Europa from the Phoenician shores to Crete. Some authors propose another bull from mythology for this sign, the Cretan bull. This was the bull given to King Minos by Poseidon, the father of the Minotaur by Queen Pasiphae, and which was killed by Theseus after its mercilessness made it the subject of Heracles' seventh labor. Gemini. The famous twins of mythology, known as the Dioscuri, sons of Zeus, Castor and Pollux, were the twin sons of Queen Leda of Sparta with different fathers, and brothers of Helen, who was abducted to Troy. Castor's father was King Tyndareus, and Pollux's father was Zeus. One was mortal, the other immortal, and the twins were very close. When Castor died in battle, the immortal Pollux could not bear to be separated from his deceased brother, and wanted to descend to the underworld, Hades, with him. According to Greek mythology, Zeus first allowed them to share their lives between Hades and Olympus by dividing the immortality between them, and then honored them in the circle of constellations so they would never be separated from each other. Cancer. The name of the constellation comes from the Greek word karkinos, crab. This was the name of the crab that bit Heracles' foot while he was trying to kill the nine-headed monster Hydra for his second labor. It had been sent by Hera to distract Heracles. Hera placed it in the circle of constellations to commemorate Karkinos, who was crushed under Heracles' feet. The famous ancient physician Galen used the word karkinos in its medical meaning, cancer, tumor, because he compared the veins covering tumors to a crab's legs. Leo. The symbol of the lion is the creature known as the Nemean lion. Heracles' first labor was to kill the Nemean lion and skin it. After strangling the lion to death, Heracles skinned it with his own nails, made clothing from its skin, and a helmet from its head. Virgo. Depicted with a bunch of wheat in her hand, she was associated with the fertility goddess Demeter, and additionally, in Western languages, with the virgin goddess Astrea and Artemis, and in later periods with the Roman justice goddess Justitia and Mary. Libra. As the sun passes through this sign, night and day become equal, meaning the scale's pans are balanced. Because it symbolizes this balance and equality, the justice goddesses Themis, Dike, and Astraea, Justitia in Roman mythology, are symbolized with scales of justice. Its position right in the middle of the zodiac also emphasizes the importance given to justice. Scorpio. The scorpion is related to the constellation Orion. According to legend, Orion was a magnificent hunter favored by the goddess Artemis. He boasted that he had the power and skill to kill all the animals on Earth. Enraged by this, the Earth goddess Gaia sent a giant scorpion from her bosom upon Orion. Pleased that it performed its duty, Gaia placed the scorpion among the constellations. Sagittarius. Known by the symbol of a man-horse, the Archer constellation commemorates the most famous of the centaurs, Chiron.
A centaur is a mythological creature with the body of a human from the head to the waist and of a horse from the waist down. The most famous of these creatures, Chiron, lived at the foot of Mount Pelion in Thessaly. He was the best and wisest of his kind, raised by Apollo and Artemis. He was also skilled in using a bow and arrow. He passed on his knowledge and experience to youngsters like Achilles, who would become the hero of the Trojan War, and Jason, who would lead the Argonauts' expedition. During a conflict with Heracles, he was accidentally wounded by Heracles' poisoned arrow. Unable to bear the pain and wanting to die, but being immortal, he gave up his immortality to end his suffering and descended to the underworld, Hades, to save the immortality. Zeus deemed it appropriate to give his remaining immortality on earth to Prometheus. Capricorn. Zeus honored the she-goat, or goat-like forest nymph Amalthea, who nursed and raised him when he was an infant by placing her in the list of constellations. According to the legend of Zeus's birth, his father Cronus swallowed his children at birth to prevent the prophecy that one of them would overthrow him and take his place. When Zeus was born, his mother, Rhea, or grandmother Gaia, hid him and gave Cronus a stone wrapped in cloth instead of the baby. The infant Zeus was secretly taken to Crete by his grandmother Gaia and entrusted to the care of Amalthea. Zeus was nourished by her milk and the honey and dried fruits brought by other forest nymphs. He reached maturity and overthrew his father. After ascending the throne, he did not forget Amalthea. He broke off one of her horns and filled it with endless abundance. He wished that whoever held the horn would live in plenty. The Romans gave this horn the name cornucopia, meaning horn of plenty. Amalthea means kind and gentle in Greek. One of the moons of the planet Jupiter, named after Zeus's Latin name, bears Amalthea's name. Aquarius. The personality most associated with this constellation in Western languages is the water-bearer, Prince Ganymede, whom Homer called the most beautiful of mortals. In Greek mythology, Ganymede was the son of Tros, the founding king of Troy. His pitchers contained not water, but nectar, the drink of immortality of the Olympians. Zeus abducted him from Troy using his favorite animal, the eagle, or by turning himself into an eagle, specifically to have him prepare drinks. Pisces. When Typhon attacked Olympus, the gods and goddesses tried to escape by disguising themselves as animals. Aphrodite and Eros also turned into fish and plunged into the water. After Typhon was defeated, they placed the fish to whose bodies they had clung to hide, tied together with a rope, into the list of constellations. Thank you for watching. If fate allows, we'll meet again in other videos.